Are you thinking about adding horseradish to your garden, but you're not sure if you'll even use it? Or maybe you've heard that it's good for your soil, but that's still not compelling enough for you to want to dedicate space in your garden to it. Well, today I'm going to go over the benefits of growing horseradish for not only your garden, but for your home as well. So stay tuned. Welcome to True Freedom Permaculture, where I show you all the tips and tricks you need to have a green thumb, even if you weren't born with one. Now, the first reason why you might want to consider adding horseradish to your garden is because you can consume the entire plant. We are very familiar with consuming the root portion of the plant, which when prepared, whether you buy it at the store or whether you make it on your own. And I show you in this video here how I prepare my horseradish to get to look like this. But we're used to using the root in things like cocktail sauces or Bloody Marys, adding them to stir fries or soups, just whenever we want that peppery horseradish kick. What we're less familiar with using though are the leaves. So the leaves can actually be consumed as well. Now, they are best harvested in the spring when they're still tender and they don't have quite the bite to them. You can use them when they're older too, and you can chop them up and put them into like soups or stews, and they have quite a bitter quality to their flavor, which in the American palate, it's been slowly phased out. But in other parts of the world, the bitter taste actually plays a really important role in their cuisine. So something that you might want to try because bitter greens tend to be very good for you. Horseradish is a member of the Brassica family, so you can use the leaves and the root wherever you might use other members of this family, which include things like kale, cabbage, or broccoli. Here's the second benefit of horseradish. Besides being tasty, this peppery plant also happens to be quite good for you. It's been used in folk medicines going way back, and it's high in something called glucosinolates. And these are responsible for giving the plant its peppery kick, but they've also been shown to fight cancer. Horseradish has been used to treat a variety of respiratory illnesses, including bronchitis, cough, or even the common cold. It's even been used to treat urinary tract infections. The leaves are high in calcium, magnesium, potassium, and vitamin C. Now, one disclaimer about this is that if you consume a lot of the leaves, it's been shown to give some people some gastrointestinal upset. So as always, make sure you check with your healthcare provider before consuming. And now for the third benefit of perennial horseradish. Well, perennial if you happen to leave a little bit in the ground when you're digging it up anyway, is that it is quite good for your soil. The horseradish root itself is a large, long tap root that digs way deep into your soil and is really great at breaking it up if you have like really clay or really tough soil. I won't go into too much about that because I do go into it in depth in this video, so if you're interested in learning more about it, check that one out. If you are concerned about horseradish overtaking your garden, which I know some of you are, you can plant it in containers, which has worked well for a lot of people, so that way it prevents it from going too crazy. The way that I use it is in my garden bed. I have a perennial Jerusalem artichoke, asparagus, and strawberry bed, and it works well as part of that guild in the bed. Another way that horseradish works really well in guilds is underneath trees. If you plant it next to a tree, it can help deter pests, which don't really love the taste. A lot of them anyway. Oh, something that you should keep in mind when deciding where you want to put horseradish in your garden is that when you eventually do harvest the horseradish, you do have to disturb the surrounding plants or ground cover around it a little bit when you're digging it up. So just something to keep in mind. And we've arrived at my final reason to grow horseradish, which is that horseradish can grow where most other plants cannot. And there's a couple reasons for this. The first one is that its strong flavor that it has is a deterrent for a lot of pests and animals. Also, it is tolerant to partial shade. It may not get as large as a horseradish plant that's in full sun, but it will grow in partial shade. So because of that, even in my area where, think I've mentioned this before, the deer are totally ruthless and they will eat plants that are even touted as being deer resistant. But they have left my horseradish alone for the most part, which is really nice because then I can kind of plant it on the partially shady side of my home, and I can leave the valuable real estate within my deer fence for other crops. And these are just some of the reasons why you might want to consider adding horseradish to your list of vegetables to grow, or at the very least to your kitchen produce drawer. It delivers a lot of value, and it's a powerful source of nutrition for not only you, but for your garden as well. Maybe you're one step ahead of me and you already have horseradish growing in your garden. In this video coming up here, I will show you how I harvest horseradish, and I'll share some best practices with you. I will see you over there.